First off, I'd like to welcome y'all here today for this announcement on an app that I think is very, very important to our community as well as our citizens. All the media that are here, I appreciate you coming and taking the time out of your busy day to be here. We try to address efforts to educate teens in the community on safe driving, mostly through our social media, through some of our programs in the schools, and often when we have the opportunity to visit with people in our community. We see driver inattention crashes occur often across the state, across the United States. We hear horrific stories of fatalities that occur where someone was texting. We see it often when we're driving. I know that you see it as well. Driving along, you see someone texting or on the phone or Googling or, eating a hamburger or putting makeup on. I've seen that usually on the loop coming to work. But it's something that we see every day, and it's very, very important. It's important not just to the young people in our community, but also to the adults. It's important to everyone that uses a smartphone and has the ability to send texts and do different things while they're driving. We are happy about an app such as this one. And before I go any further, what I want to do now is I'm going to introduce Mario Munoz, who is the ClearTalk representative, so he can explain the app for you.
Okay, thank you, Chief Vasquez. Thank you all for being here today, members of the media. And I also want to recognize my people that I have here. I have a couple managers here in town that will have information on this. It's Jarrett Garcia and Anthony Hoguera over there. I just wanted to speak real quick. Texting and driving, like you said, is one of those things that we're seeing too much of. It really hits home for somebody like me. I used to be a teacher. I lost a couple of students to texting and driving. So it's one of those things that I wish we didn't have to see at all. A little bit about the app. It's called Text You Later. It's now available. It's free, absolutely free to everybody. The whole point of this app is to educate, mainly teens is our focus, on the dangers of texting and driving. The app enables teens and other drivers to turn the app on. It'll even give people their location, tell them where they're at. That way you don't have that urge to where you feel like you have to respond. It responds for you. So it takes that out of your hands. With all the accidents we see in this town, if we can have that as one of the things that's no longer on the stats list, that would be very nice. So I'm very excited about this app. I'm looking forward to seeing how many people actually get on there and download it. It's going to save a lot of people, I think. So thank you all for being here, and I'm going to turn it back over to Chief Vasquez now.
I personally haven't had the opportunity to play with the app. I have an iPhone. I think that's going to come out soon.
Very soon.
Okay, so right now it's available for Android phones, but very soon for iPhones. Do you have an anticipated date? Okay, all right. So if you have an Android phone, you might go ahead and start playing with it and see if you can get used to it. I like the idea of it texting for you and letting people know where you're at and that you'll text you later. Okay. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank, I know it's short and brief. Appreciate your time. And we'll be here for questions. We'll go ahead and start with questions if you have any.
Absolutely.
Do you have any stats about San Angelo? Like how many are wrecks or fatalities or texting?
That's a good question. When we work traffic accidents in our community, a lot of time we can articulate driver inattention in a vehicle. It's very difficult to articulate whether they were texting, what the response is. Now, when you look at texting and accidents that occur, most of the violations that occur are Class C misdemeanors. Some of the cities that have ordinances in place across the state have difficulty enforcing their city ordinances based off the way they're written, number one. Number two, when you look at texting while driving, if I'm a patrolman and I pull up next to a vehicle, I have to be able to determine that that's what that person is doing. Sometimes they allow them to dial a phone number, so they could be dialing a phone number. That being said, if we have an accident and someone has, we believe that maybe someone was texting, their phone is thrown around on the floor or whatever, we can't acquire a search warrant for a Class C misdemeanor to look at their phone to determine if they were sending a text. If the accident involved an injury or intoxication, then we're looking at something that we would be able to get a search warrant for.
Okay, and so San Angelo doesn't have any ordinances about texting and driving?
No, the one law that we do enforce, and I don't have the statistics on hand, but the one law that we do enforce is the law in reference to the school zones, where there's no type of phone usage whatsoever in the school zone.
Do you think it's a good idea to have a ban on texting in cities?
You know, that's a touchy subject. I do think that it's a good idea, and I think an app such as this is an excellent way or an excellent alternative to creating another law, especially another law that's very difficult to enforce. If you do the research and look at the cities that have texting while driving ordinances, the violations are very, very low. Is it because there's less violators? Possibly. I'm sure that law in itself will bring those into compliance that do follow the law. But those that choose to not, it's difficult for the officers to enforce that law. I think Amarillo was probably one that created the law last year, maybe the year before, and had a lot of difficulty getting violations. I think in the first year there was like 20. And so it's, you know, as well as I do, there's way more texting going on than 20 violators.
So do you know how many people have signed up so far for
Here,
this
come
app?
Yes, the app has only been out there for about a week now. As of the last count, we had a little over 100 downloads, but that was a few days ago. I'm betting it's a couple hundred at least by now.
Do you have to be a ClearTalk customer?
Absolutely not. It's free to everybody. Android is the only stipulation. Right now, iPhones, it will not work on iPhones, but as long as you have an Android, it doesn't matter what carrier you're with. It's free.
Where do you go to get it?
You can go to ClearTalkWireless.com, or you can just go to the Google Play. It's on the Play Store. If you search for Text You Later, it will pull up a couple different apps. One of them doesn't actually say Text You Later. It just says TYL. Ours actually says Text You Later. So just look for that icon there. Our ad agency did, GDC out of San Antonio. They've been working on it for about a year now. They wanted to make sure it was perfect.
As soon as we find out that their iPhone app is available, we'll put out something through our organization as well.
So is it just a Texas thing, or is this a nationwide?
It's a nationwide thing. You can use it anywhere.
Are you joining any portion of the schools or anything like that right now? Any kind of assemblies or anything?
We're trying. Sometimes it's a little hard to get into the schools, but we're definitely, that's where we want to be. We're really geared towards teens and, you know, parents, talking to parents about it. I think one of the best features on this is that it will not let you do anything else. If you disable the app to make a phone call, to check your email, to do absolutely anything, it turns the app off. So if you're a parent and you text your kid because you know they're driving and you don't get that automatic response, you know they've been doing something.
Good.
Does it also block things like Facebook messages and stuff?
Yeah, if you check anything like that, it'll automatically turn this app off. I mean, you could still do it, but as soon as you do it, it's going to turn this app completely off.
And is it a free app?
Yes,
Okay.
completely free.
Is that it? Okay. Thank you for your time.